We often pretend to be confident and self-assured, but in reality, the majority of people are desperately seeking validation from those who don't see their authentic self. Because deep down, they are terrified of being exposed as the vulnerable, insecure shell that lies beneath their facade. This obsessive need for validation stems from a fundamental human pattern, where we tend to attract those who have already accepted and validated our insecurities. Often because it's easier and less painful to be around people who see us for who we truly are, rather than trying to present a perfect image to the world. I'm willing to bet that you've seen this pattern play out in your own life, perhaps with a colleague who consistently seeks your opinion and validation, or a friend who shares intimate secrets with you, but somehow always seems to know exactly how to push your button and make you feel inferior, making you wonder if you're somehow drawn to this dynamic. In this video, I'll be diving deeper into the hidden patterns that drive people to attract and repel those who expose their insecurities, and what it says about our own psyche and motivations, revealing the uncomfortable truths that people rarely talk about, but are desperate to know. When we wear the mask of confidence, it's often a desperate attempt to conceal the insecurity that lies beneath, and the people who can see through it are the ones who attract our deepest loathing because they hold the power to expose us. Many of us are drawn to relationships that are built on a foundation of need rather than love, because it provides a sense of security and validation that we've been lacking our entire lives. The people who repel us the most are often the ones who call attention to the discrepancies between our actual behaviors and the image we present to the world, and this is because their brutal honesty is a threat to the delicate ego that we've constructed. We're often attracted to those who give us a sense of control, who make us feel like we're the masters of our own fate, because this allows us to avoid the overwhelming anxiety that comes with feeling like we're powerless and at the mercy of the world. Insecurity and fear are like a magnet, drawing us towards people who are also struggling with their own insecurities, and yet, this attraction is a form of self-deception, because it allows us to momentarily forget our own vulnerabilities by becoming enmeshed with someone who is also crippled by their own fears. Ultimately, the people who attract and repel us are often the ones who bring our deepest insecurities to the surface, who expose us to the brutal reality of our own flaws and weaknesses, and it's only by confronting this pain that we can start to peel away the layers of our masks and reveal our true selves. When we expose our insecurities to others, it's not a sign of openness, but a subtle manipulation to draw in people who will feed our ego and provide temporary validation. The human desire for validation is a deep-seated need, and when it goes unmet, we become more desperate to secure it, even if it means revealing our vulnerabilities to those who don't have our best interests at heart. Insecurity is an invisible magnet that draws people like vultures, always circling and waiting for the perfect moment to swoop in and capitalize on our fear of rejection and inadequacy. We're often blind to the true intentions of those who seek us out, and in our desperation for connection and acceptance, we overlook the red flags that scream "be wary" and settle for the comfort of being needed. No matter how toxic the dynamic may be. At the core of our insecurities lies a desire for control, a desperate attempt to dictate how others perceive and treat us, and this need for control can lead us down a path of self-deception, where we convince ourselves that our vulnerabilities are a sign of strength, not weakness. By exposing our insecurities, we unwittingly create an opportunity for others to exert power over us, to manipulate us with guilt, shame, and fear, and to subtly chip away at our sense of self until we're left with nothing but a fragile, vulnerable shell of our former selves. Here are 6 insightful spoken sentences for the section on the repellent effect. How our hidden fears drive away those who could help us heal when we're faced with the prospect of being vulnerable and exposed. Our minds will often conjure up scenarios where others are judging us, not helping us, and our deep-seated fears of rejection and humiliation become the primary drivers of our repellent behavior. What we often overlook is that our insecurities aren't just about being liked or loved, they're about avoiding the pain of being hurt or shamed. And the fear of that pain is so potent that it can cause us to push away the very people who might be able to offer us the validation and support we need. The irony is that our desire for control and validation is often rooted in a sense of insecurity, and it's precisely this need for control that can make us so reactive and defensive towards others, causing us to push away the very connections and relationships that could help us heal and grow. When we're trapped in our own self-deception, it's easy to convince ourselves that we're only pushing people away because of their flaws or shortcomings. But the truth is, our repellent behavior is often a desperate attempt to avoid the vulnerability that comes with true intimacy and connection. Our fear of being seen and understood often stems from a deep-seated fear of being judged and criticized. But what we forget is that vulnerability is not about being weak. It's about being brave enough to be true to ourselves, even in the face of uncertainty and criticism. Ultimately, the repellent effect is not just about pushing people away, it's about avoiding the painful revelation that we're not as secure or self-assured as we thought we were, and that facing our insecurities head-on is the only way to truly heal and grow. When we people-please, we aren't just seeking validation, we're actually trying to control the narrative of rejection that inevitably follows our deeper emotional vulnerabilities. You see, the need for people-pleasing is rooted in an unconscious desire for security, but in actuality, it's often a desperate attempt to avoid confronting the pain that comes with authentic human connection. What we really crave is not the external validation itself, but the sense of control it gives us over the emotions that we're so terrified to acknowledge, let alone express. The irony is that in trying to avoid rejection, we end up sabotaging the very relationships that could potentially offer us the emotional resilience we so desperately crave. When we're obsessed with maintaining control through people-pleasing, we're essentially hiding from the truth that we're not as invulnerable as our ego would have us believe. In this masquerade of people-pleasing, we might attract superficial connections. But the people who truly see us for who we are, the ones we've driven away through our need for control, are the ones who could have helped us heal from the very insecurities we're trying to keep hidden. Let's take a closer look at the intricate dance of attraction and repulsion, where people instinctively gravitate towards those who expose their deepest insecurities, only to push them away when the truth becomes too uncomfortable to bear. We often attribute toxic relationships to external factors, but scratch beneath the surface and you'll find that the real culprit lies within a desperate cry for attention, validation, and love that stems from our own insecurities. At its core, attraction to those who expose our insecurities is a calculated gamble. We're willing to risk emotional pain in hopes that this person will finally see us, finally validate us, finally make us feel whole. But beneath the surface, our ego is screaming in agony. It can't accept that our sense of worth isn't tied to external validation, that our value isn't dependent on someone else's approval. This is where the toxic cycle of attraction and repulsion begins. We desperately seek out relationships that expose our deepest fears, only to become outraged and defensive when confronted with the truth. At some point, we become adept at hiding behind a mask of confidence, a carefully crafted facade that conceals the crippling self-doubt that lies beneath. But the truth remains, patiently waiting to be uncovered by someone who sees us without the need for pretenses. In recognizing these hidden patterns, we can begin to confront our own insecurities and break free from the cycle of attraction and repulsion that holds us back. I want you to take a moment to reflect on your own relationships and see if you can identify these patterns at play. Share your observations in the comments below. And if this content has resonated with you, be sure to like and subscribe for more in-depth explorations into the fascinating and complex world of human psychology.